Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metza. I have a most delightful guest and one of the greatest musicians in Minnesota tonight, and we haven't spoken in, probably 12 or 15 years, so it's so great to hear her voice and what she has to say. Davina and the Vagabonds are going to be doing a live stream show tomorrow on Valentine's Day at 7 o'clock, stream live from the Hook and Ladder Theater in Minneapolis. We're going to tell you about how to get tickets to that. But I want to tell you a little bit about my guest. Davina and the Vagabonds offer a modern take on old-time blues and jazz, with influences ranging from Fats Domino and the Preservation Hall Jazz Band to Aretha Franklin and Tom Waits. The band has created a stir on the national scene with their high-energy live shows, their level of musicianship, their sharp-dressed professionalism, and Davina's commanding stage presence. Davina is joining us today from her home in Minneapolis to talk about the Valentine's Day show and more. It's been a minute. Davina, how are you?
I'm doing really good. Well, how are you? It's such a weird time. It's hard to even pinpoint what you're feeling, but
yeah.
Anyway, thanks for having me.
Yeah, or what day, or what year, or what?
Or who I am.
Yeah,
What?
We'll get it figured out. Davina, I like to brag that I believe I gave you one of your first big shows when you were getting started out in the mid-2000s, 2005, 2006, or something like that, in Uptown Minneapolis at Famous Days Barbecue and Blues, where you just blew the house down.
Yeah, it's the truth. Yeah, I loved those gigs back in the day. Even those Sunday brunches were pretty hip.
Well, and then you've gone on. You've toured all over the country. You've toured in Europe. I was watching television a few years back, and there was a show from, I think it was called Bluegrass Underground, from a deep cave somewhere in Tennessee. And who was there but my friend Davina with her band, The Vagabonds. And you knocked me out. You were just so, you were great when I hired you at Famous Days, but you've so expanded your work, and you're touching on so many levels and corners of American music. It's just so vibrant and so sassy.
Thank you. That was really an amazing gig. What is it? You're 300 feet under the ground.
Oh my God!
But yeah, it's in Tennessee. Yeah, it was a really cool gig.
And
it was different. For the books. It's definitely in the books. No question about it.
And it looked like, you got the stalactites and the stalagmites.
Yeah.
And I know.
It had like a
crazy
chandelier. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just insane. It was really cool.
Well, the one thing, I think maybe the only thing I remember from school is that stalagmites come from the ground, because that's G for stalag, and stalactites come from the ceiling, and that's what
from the ceiling. Yeah.
Well, that's what I know, but it was a great show. But you've done more television shows than just that one.
Yeah, we have. We've done, so we've done local stuff too, TPT, kind of lower town thing, and we've done Jules Holland, which was in England, which was a really cool experience. Yeah, what else? We've done. It's crazy to think, now that I've been sitting on my tush for a year, to look back and even remember. You're in the thick of it. Just, it's hard to be as present as you'd like to be. So, but we've done a lot of really great things, I'm really proud of the band and, the opportunities I've had, regardless of how big or small they are.
How many shows a year were you doing before everything shut down?
Not as many as we were when I first started. We used to average about 250 shows a year.
Wow.
And then as I got older and maybe a little wiser, more tired, I don't know. But I would say we were doing about 100 to 150.
That's still a lot
of work. We were still working. Yeah, it's what I've done full time for over a decade, So it's been a complete I mean, I don't know. My life is completely different, you know. I had to teach myself how to be home because I never really was, you know. I was always packing for the next tour. So it's, you know, it's been something else.
And,
you know, it really has been.
And packing for you as opposed to me would be a lot more complex because you are kind of a red hot mama with those. You've got such incredible stage clothes.
And I love, you know, hats, and I still do. I mean, I've been donning sweatpants forever these days, but yeah, I mean, that's definitely is a pain in the tush for not just the dresses, but the accessories. And, you know, I'm a huge fan of my time to meditate is putting my face on and setting my hair, and, you know, so it's, you know, it definitely is a pain.
You know what
I've learned. I have tricks, though. I have tricks of packing for sure.
I bet you do. I was when I was thinking about when I lined up this interview with the great Ellen Stanley, a publicist we share. I wanted to ask you, how many tattoos ago was it when I met you? Because you are one tat-wearing mama.
Yeah, it is true. You know, I wish I could show you guys my dressing room here at my house. It's just there's no wall to speak of. It's just the wallpaper is hats, you know, and they're cool. You know, I have stuff from, you know, the late 1800s, early 1900s, and my favorite stuff is 1940s tilt hats. You know, it's, you know, I'm a collector of really, you know, fun stuff too. Anyway, yeah, it just, you know, my body changes. I'm a woman, so I get real thick sometimes, and I can lose. But you always got your hat, and you always got your shoes, you know, so that's, you know, something I've always done since I was a kid, too. You know, I've always been a hat wearer.
Well, let's talk about when you were a kid. When did you start really getting into music?
I think I've always been into music, probably just like you. I mean, I don't know your history, but it seems to be a common, you know, when we meet people that are like, yeah, I didn't start getting into music until, like, my 20s, you're like, what? It's,
right.
You know,
I get
like, it's like a different, it's a different vibe. But, you know, since I was a kid, I've always been, my mom was real musical, you know, and she was a folk singer. And,
oh, cool.
And so I grew up listening to a lot of her folk and classic rock, of course. And then my dad, who wasn't a musician, he was my adopted father, you know, was born a lot earlier than my mom. He was born in 1902. So I grew up kind of with his pop music as well, you know, which, you know, the Reader's Digest songbook stuff, and, you know, and, but yeah, so I just kind of grew up loving music, influenced by the music that was around me, but it's definitely my calling, you know.
Well, you're absolutely fantastic. I knew from the minute, I forgot where I heard you, or if you sent me a tape or however that gig came about in Uptown, but I said, no, this woman has something special going on. And it's, then when I saw you on...
Well, I used to be Lamont's wild card. He would, remember Lamont Cranston?
Sure.
Of course you do. So he would pull me up, and I would sing that 112 bar. He didn't even know I played piano. You know what I mean? Whatever. I sang a mean 12 bar, you know, so that's kind of where I owe a lot of my, you know, beginning to that one song that he had me sing with him.
Well,
you know,
Pat Hayes has quite the leader, Lamont Cranston. A lot of people think his name is Lamont Cranston.
Is Lamont? Yeah, no, it's Pat. Yeah,
sure. He's got a real eye and ear for talent. We're going to listen to a song of yours, perfect timing, as we're taping this on Tuesday before Saturday. Tell us about the song "I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm."
To keep me warm, yeah. It's a really, you know, it's kind of a jazz standard, but I loved Ella's version. I think even Bang has done it. I'm going to say that, and people are going to think it's square, but it's a really hip song, and you know, it just puts a smile to my face when I sing those types of, and you know, to add grit to it too. So anyway, it's freezing out, and I definitely got my Love to Keep Me Warm here in South Minneapolis.
With your hubby, Zach, who's a great trumpet player. We got Davina.
Yeah, he's on this as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got Davina in the Vagabonds, the leader on Davina all night tonight on the Wall of Power Radio Hour. They are doing a live stream on Valentine's Day. Tickets at the Hook, MPLS.com. Listen to the song, be on with Davina for the whole.
Did you know that learning a musical instrument is good for your brain? For adults, it can lead to improvements in working memory, resilience to age-related hearing loss, and lower levels of stress and depression. According to University of Texas research, it's even more effective than brain training games. And the best part is, it's fun. Even if you've never played an instrument, we'll have you playing songs in a month. You may think of School of Rock as a place for kids, but we have lessons for adults, too. School of Rock Eden Prairie offers lessons on guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, and vocals. You choose whether your lessons are in person or online. We also have adult bands if you want to jam with other adults. And AM 950 listeners get 10% off 45 or 60-minute weekly lessons. Visit EdenPrairie.schoolofrock.com or click on the link on AM950radio.com.
Show.
The snow is snowing, the wind is blowing, but I can weather the storm. What do I care how much it may storm? I've got my love to keep me warm. I can't remember the worst December, just watching those icicles form. What do I care if icicles form? I've got my love to keep me warm. Off with my overcoat, off with my gloves. Home needs an overcoat, I'm burning with love. You go. I can't believe you're gone. I know I'm hard to love, but I thought our love was stronger. I heard what you said. I should have treated you better.
Welcome back to the second set of the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metza. We just heard a song by my guest, Davina, from Davina and the Vagabonds, called I Can't Believe I Let You Go. Now, who do you let go there, Davina?
We should go bowling sometime and talk about all these things I've let go.
So this was an original song?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Nice.
It's actually 3 different songs that I kind of meshed together before we went to the studio for our last album, Sugar Drops. It's it's real poppy. It seems like because I had to pick out love songs talking to you because we're doing the Valentine's Day show.
Sure, right.
So we're so we're so all over the place with genres, but it seems like a lot of my love songs are kind of poppy, you know. So this is definitely in the realm of like a pop kind of singer-songwriter song. But anyway, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's gritty. I love the bass line on it. It's definitely not I'm in love right now. It's a forlorn song for sure. But but it got top 10 Americana songs for what year is it? 2000, I think it was 2019 for Sugar Drops.
Congrats.
Rolling Stone, what is it? The top 10 Americana songs. So it was picked for that, which is really hip. And I was surprised because, like I said, it was 3 different songs I smushed together, that had the same overtone. So, yeah. And Zach's solo at the end is killer, so.
Well, and so whoever you let go, you got somebody back with that great trumpet player, Zach, who you're married to.
Yeah.
He plays in the band. Now, did you guys hook up before the band, or was it something that developed while you were playing together?
Actually, no. I had the band. We've been together, I'm so bad with dates. I have to ask him when our anniversary is and how long we've been together. But we've been together about 6 years. The band's been together for about 15. We did meet through the scene, but when we first got together, I didn't tour with him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just important to not
Right.
for a little bit, you know. But, you know, he jumped on about 3 years into our relationship, and, you know, it's been great. We've been able to travel and see the world together. So we did meet through music, but it's not a Stevie Nicks kind of Grace Slick situation. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, here's a little...
He's amazing. He's an amazing trumpet player.
Yes, and a nice guy. I've known him for a long time. You know,
yeah, he's a good guy.
I'm a lifelong bachelor, but I'll just throw out a little, as long as we're coming up on Valentine's Day, where Davina and the Vagabonds will be doing their live stream from the Hook and Ladder to Minneapolis. Tickets at thehookmpls.com. When you brought up Grace Slick, I remember years ago when she got a divorce from Paul Kantner, and somebody asked her, geez, you guys are the king and queen of the love generation. Well, he goes, why did you get divorced? And Kantner goes, you don't get divorced because you fall out of love. You get divorced because one person forgets to put the cap back on the toothpaste.
Oh,
that's just a little relationship advice out there from Paul Metza to all you people that want to keep your relationships together. Keep the cap on the toothpaste.
Put the cap on the toothpaste. I could add to that list, but you know, that's fine.
Now how about a little love advice from Davina? What do you think? You know, tell other couples out there whether they're just getting going or they've been around forever together. What do you think keeps you guys tight? And considering you work together too, which adds a whole other dimension to your relationship.
Yeah, my advice is just, you know, I let him be him, and he lets me be me. You know, we're a group, of course, we're partners, but we're also individual people, and I think respect is huge, and, you know, just not having this insane expectation to change anybody and to try to better each other, not change, you know. I think that, you know, it's always work. You always got to put the work in. Nothing's perfect.
Right.
But, yeah.
That's great advice.
He lets me be me. That's pretty hip. It's not easy being me. No. So when someone's trying to change me, it's even worse. You know? So, you know, it's really refreshing to have someone just go, I love you for you. You know? That's pretty hip.
I'm gonna take your word for it, because I'll tell you what, you always had brimming with personality from the first time I saw you on stage with the band. But you have really turned into, you know, when I say a red hot mama, I mean that in the same way I would compare, you know, say that about Bessie Smith. Or all those great blues singers, or Coco Taylor, or any of those just really impressively larger than life female blues belters, which I consider you in a long line of just incredible female musicians. But your stage persona is so incredible.
People say that, and I appreciate it. You know, it's funny because it's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's a switch or whatever, because I'm still just being me, but I just love the stage because you just don't have to apologize, you know. You know, you can just be you, and even though it might be a lot of you, because, you know, I can be a bit much, but it's just nice. You can truly, just like my relationship, you can just truly be yourself, you know, and it's nice to have people, because, you know, you can go through life, and I do this all the time, especially in quarantine, where I'm like, do they even make people like me anymore? I'm not really feeling like I'm part of this human race anymore, you know, and so that's what's tough, I think. One major thing that I know that I'm going through at this time, aside from existential crisis every 5 minutes, like I'd said before, but, you know, is missing that connection.
Yeah.
You know, it's so important, because you become very self-centered when you're by yourself all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's, you know, it's nice to have that humility, and that, and that's what's cool on stage, is that I can just be me, you know, and I think I'm thick and I'm big and I'm very, like, I love, you know, dressing up, and I think that has a lot to do with it too, but, you know, I don't know, man. There's nothing smellier than dishonest music, and I just want to be so honest. It can be a bit much, I guess.
Oh, I love that. Well, and the thing is, too, is that so many of us are going through not performing in front of real live human beings is that, and a lot of people, music really at the end of the day, it's a source of healing. And I think when we're playing at our best, it does heal people on a variety of levels, but it also heals ourselves and heals those that are playing. Oh, totally. We've got Davina from Davina and the Vagabonds on for the whole show tonight. Stick around. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metza. We are featuring my old friend who I haven't talked to in years, so I'm so excited to talk to Davina from Davina the Vagabonds. They're doing a special Valentine's live stream. Tickets at thehookmpls.com. Davina.
Paul.
What? Davina.
Hello.
I kind of ask you, one of my favorite jazz singers, and you have her sway and swagger, is Anita O'Day. Are you into Anita?
Oh, I love Anita O'Day. Yeah. She's amazing.
I swear to God, I want to find somebody and write the Anita O'Day story, because she had such an incredible jazz, tumultuous life. Just a great singer, played with some of the greatest musicians of our time, went through a hellacious personal, relationships and marriages and divorces, overcome a huge heroin addiction, and but had this sense of humor. I heard an interview with her that everybody should dig up that she did with Terry Gross for Fresh Air, and it was just like, somebody's got to write that story. It would be great in a theater.
I need to read about her. I didn't know a lot about her, so it's really interesting that
track down that interview.
Yeah.
I mean,
I will. I'm a recovering, so it's cool to read when people have overcome. It's really, really, really cool. So that's neat. I'll have to dig into her deeper.
You would really enjoy it. Would you like
Googling it?
Do you feel like talking about what you went through? We don't have to if you don't want to.
Sure, yeah. My heart's on my sleeve.
Yeah. Well, tell us about it.
It's nothing. Oh, it sucked. really, really bad. So I'm 40. How old am I? 42. I spent about a decade plus, my mid teenage years. I think I started trying drugs when I was 13. And I just grew up in a really bad kind of situation where I didn't have the tools to really live a balanced life even as a child. So, not that I'm blaming anybody. That's just part of it.
Right.
But, yeah, I picked up the heroin and got addicted for many, many years, ended up homeless, and spent some time in jail and spent some time in rehab, and just ended up, pretty much in the hospital with seizures. That's how bad my habit was at that time, and then I was literally homeless but I picked Key West. Key West is where I was homeless, so I'm sure I could have picked a harder place to live.
Right.
I mean, but it was difficult, and then I got clean and, immediately moved to Minneapolis. I think I maybe had 2 months clean when I had moved here, and started the band. I mean, the band saved my life, I think more than anything. Yeah.
That's
so I've been clean since then.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
When you're talking about being down and dealing with your demons in Key West, I'm reminded of that great new song, Key West, by Bob Dylan, that said, if you've lost your mind, you can find it there. But you came back to Minneapolis and found your mind.
But I came back to Minneapolis. Yeah, I guess so. I'm still working on the mind thing. So,
yeah.
It's always, but, Yeah, it's really amazing. I believe I'm a miracle, you know. I believe, you know, anybody that pulls out of that is a miracle. And, you know, so there's so much to it. There's, as you know, I'm sure there's just so much to addiction, and there's just so much to it. I mean, it's just this endless learning and learning about you and learning about so much. It's just a crazy thing. Working on myself all the time, though.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of it. So.
Well, that's so commendable, and it's also commendable that you're strong enough to share that story with us. So what kind of things do you do to keep tuned up? What helps you keep clean?
You know, I think just honesty to myself. I think, you know, I mean, when people say rock bottom, I hit rock bottom. So there was really no other place for me to go other than if I would pass away, you know. And I think just therapy and working on you and humility and being gracious, like having gratitude, I think is a huge thing. Being aware of what you have to be grateful for, even if it's just waking up in the day and being grateful that you just woke up, you know, things like that. There's just so much in tow of working on trauma, you know, understanding trauma. That's huge. Facing trauma. There's so much. Oh my gosh, Paul, for real. Like,
well, and then, and then I'm sure there's which we all have to do, no matter whether we've gotten involved in drugs or not, is you need to be able to forgive yourself.
That's huge too. Yeah. Yeah. Acceptance. How about that? That's like the biggest word in the English language. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Acceptance, you know? So yeah. And forgiveness. Yeah.
Well, what an incredible, you know, the other part of as we're, you know, into the Valentine's Day weekend, it's not just
this is not very love. We're not really.
No, but no, really it is, though.
I guess it should be pumping a bunch of love and relationship. But, oh, my gosh, I'm totally being Captain Bring Down on the Valentine's Day.
No, not at all. No, not at all. The way I'm looking at it is that really if Valentine's Day is the theme of love, whether you have a relationship or not,
loving yourself.
Loving yourself and loving life. So, I mean, this is the perfect Valentine's Day vibe here, Davina.
Good segue, Paul. Brilliant segue. Sorry, folks, for going so deep. Paul's the first person I talked to other than my husband in like 6 months. So he has to invoice me later for therapy, folks. Sorry.
Hey, the first, as you know, the first one is free, right?
Yeah, okay, good.
which is what gets you in trouble eventually down the road. So, Davina, so you've been sitting around, you've been writing songs, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I've been just trying to write songs. This Valentine's Day, we actually, the live show, I rearranged some pretty hip songs, like the Lemonheads. Do you remember them?
Sure.
The Lemonheads. So we're doing a song by them, The Doors. I rearranged for my 5-piece instrumentation. We're doing a song by them. I've been working on an Aretha Franklin song. We've been working on just really cool New Orleans kind of traditional songs. So we're bringing some new songs for Valentine's Day, and I've been doing that, making demos, you know, staying busy in the house with Zach, you know. And then I'm working on an album, and I'm thinking about calling it Pep Talk, and I've just been doing songs that are kind of just that I'm writing that are like slap yourself in the face pep talks at the piano kind of songs, you know. So I've been doing that too, and you know, just trying my best to be as active. There's days where I'm not getting off the couch. I just have to be honest. But just kind of doing that, living life and painting walls.
Yeah.
And, you know,
putting
flooring in.
I'm
giving you my to-do list.
Yeah, there you go. I need all the advice I can get and all the help I can get. Trust me. I had my heat go out this weekend. Center Point Energy came out. Yeah, it got down to about 50 degrees in the house. And this woman came over, the technician. She was there for about an hour and a half. I have a 1954 howitzer tank as a furnace in the basement. She saw a few guitars when she came in. It turns out she was an old fan of my band, Cats and the Stars. So I knew I had the right person there. So after about an hour and a half, and she's calling her boss and Jesus is an old furnace, she goes, well, let's check the filters. So my advice out there for any of you that have an old forced air furnace, change the filters every couple of years because that was the problem. My bad, Davina, my bad.
Hey, well, it was a simple fix, right?
Yeah.
It didn't, yeah, good. So now you have heat. Yeah. And you got your ego kind of boosted, too, by the furnace lady.
Well, I got it boosted at first until she found out that I hadn't changed the filters in a couple of years, and then kind of dropped back. It was kind of like, yin and yang on the ego level, but it was cool.
You could have just looked at her and been like, musician.
She had
what do you want?
She had kind of had that figured out, although she, as you know, there's two ways of looking at musicians, and she was actually had the positive look on the musician, not the banker's look towards a musician, more of a fan's look. So I love that. So hey, when did you turn into such a groovy and cool piano player?
Oh my gosh. I am horrible at the piano. I cry I wish my brain, I'm still not at that point, Paul, where my brain and fingers are connected.
Oh,
it's
you
so
swing! No, you swing big time. Come on, don't
well,
lie
I
to
mean,
me.
I like to comp, and I love working with tempos and rhythms and feels. It's something I've always been a really percussive piano player, and I just dig it. I like to try to make. If you ever try to transcribe a guitar song into a piano song, it's so hard sometimes, because you just can't make it bend like a guitar. But I try my best, and that's where my horns and stuff come in. So, but anyway, I like the piano, but I also hate it. But it keeps me in check, I think, vocally too. It's a magical instrument. It can really cover a lot. All in front of you.
Yeah, and when you said...
Let me beat it. It's nice. Let me, hit it and, mistreat it and, I mean, what do you, so...
So, when you speak, you love comping and working with the band and staying in the pocket. It just so happens we're going to hear a song. Is it one you wrote called Pocket? Did you write this one?
Pocket.
Tell us about it.
It's another pop song.
Okay.
It's another pop song, but it's a love song, and I wrote it... and it's really kind of nice about these times, too, because I wrote it just being far away from Zach, and, I just always said, you have my heart in your pocket, and I feel that that's really kind of how it is now. That's, we all have to carry each other around because we can't see each other, so it was just kind of that, that feel of how much I love him, and that even though we were far away, ew, mushy.
No, that's okay. We've got Davina from Davina and the Vagabonds. They're doing a show on Valentine's Day around 7 p.m. live from the Hook and Ladder Theater. Stream it and get tickets at thehookmpls.com. Listen to Pocket. We'll be back one more set with a great Davina.
I got some time, dear. And now that you're not here, I'm gonna write you a love song and let you know how I feel. Well, it's been so many years now. We both had our ups and our downs. Now there's nothing gonna tear us apart. No, because you got it. You got my heart in your pocket. I bring it out when you want love, when you want love. Because you forgot it. You got my heart in your pocket. I bring it out, I bring it out, I bring it out.
Did you know that learning a musical instrument is good for your brain? For adults, it can lead to improvements in working memory, resilience to age-related hearing loss, and lower levels of stress and depression. According to University of Texas research, it's even more effective than brain training games. And the best part is, it's fun. Even if you've never played an instrument, we'll have you playing songs in a month. You may think of School of Rock as a place for kids, but we have lessons for adults, too. School of Rock Eden Prairie offers lessons on guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, and vocals. You choose whether your lessons are in person or online. We also have adult bands if you want to jam with other adults. And AM 950 listeners get 10% off 45 or 60-minute weekly lessons. Visit EdenPrairie.schoolofrock.com or click on the link on AM950radio.com.
Welcome to the last set of the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metza. My guest for the whole show tonight, Miss Davina from Davina and the Vagabonds. It's been so great getting caught up with her. We haven't spoken in person in years. Davina, I've seen you now a couple of times at the Dakota. I've caught your television shows.
Have you?
Oh, yeah. I sit in the back.
You come to see me at the Dakota?
Heck yeah. I'm a big fan.
Shut up. I didn't even know that.
I'm a big fan. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I like to brag that I gave you one of your first big shows at Famous Dave's. And it's just, it's kind of a Godfather. It's been so fun to just watch you be so successful. My other guy that I used to give some of his first gigs in town knew when I had a little artist corner night at the Mazelacks in Northeast Minneapolis in the late 90s. Turned out to be a pretty well-known folk and blues musician from around the world. Was a guy by the name of Charlie Parr. Are you hip to Charlie?
Oh, I love Charlie. He's such a cool dude. And he's getting out with his his experimental stuff, and he's a great writer and great roots, and he's a good dude.
He's a really good dude. He's one of my favorite records of his is one he did. It's just a really experimental instrumental record with Alan Sparhawk from Lowell. I think it's named after a neighborhood in Duluth, and it's just brilliant. And yet you go and hear him, and he's the perfect cross between Spider John Kerner and Dave Ray. Yeah. Writes great tunes, plays great, sings great, high energy, yet he's got this whole other artistic side to him that speaks about his breadth as a musician. Now, you cover a variety of styles, Davina. Is there any one style that you feel like this is where if God said take one style to the island and that's the only one you're going to play for the rest of your life, which one would it be? Or could you even choose?
Is it like one to make money, one to soothe my soul?
Soothe your soul.
I think, oh gosh, I would say just singer-songwriter Nick Drakey. I don't know, but I love rock and roll. I don't think I can pick any. Oh, I really don't. Do I have to?
No, you don't.
Is that really necessary?
No, you don't.
Yeah, because I think if I go there, I can just do whatever the hell I want because I'm the only one there.
But I would love to hear Davina do some Nick Drake stuff. I have been listening to Nick Drake for 40 years.
I'm a stalker. If you Google Davina and the Vagabonds Pink Moon, you can hear one cover I did of Pink Moon and Nick Drake. I'm a huge singer-songwriter, woe is me, kind of introspective.
Right.
That's what I listen to when I'm home. I'm a huge Wilco fan, and some of their stuff kind of gets into that realm too, and so that's but I think it's so sad sack. I'm such a sad sack at times. So I would need that traditional jazz as well to kind of even me out. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to think about this. But
are you hip to that record that was released a few years back? It was Nick Drake's mother playing piano and doing a lot of her own songs. Oh yeah, you got to find it. You have, when we're done.
No, I didn't even know she played piano.
Yeah, no, she was a huge influence on Nick Drake, and it's a beautiful record. Yeah, I mean, you get it off whatever streaming service or order from Amazon.
Sure, yeah.
But you would absolutely love it because it's not just her playing the traditional songs of her time. You can feel that sort of. Her tonal and her melodic influence on her son. Yeah. It's really some of the stuff's very coolly left of center.
I'm going to Google the hell out of that, and I'm going to listen to it. I had no idea. Yeah, I'm excited to listen to it.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I got to call you more often and talk to you more often. So you give me these leads.
Well, no, absolutely. Now, as long as we're talking Nick Drake, are you hip to John Martin?
No.
Okay.
John Martin. No.
Then this will be your afternoon listing, Davina.
Okay.
John Martin, Martyn. And
he put that Y in there.
Yeah, and he I believe he's from Wales. But he and Nick Drake were contemporaries. He wrote a song before Nick. A lot of people think Nick took his own life, but a lot of people think it was just an accidental overdose from medication.
Yeah. Things were weird back then.
But John Martin wrote a beautiful song about Nick Drake called "Solid Air." That it's just absolutely gorgeous. Also, the title of a John Martin record. But yeah, John, there's a lot of stuff. I was just
I'll have to listen to him.
2:00 last night. I was listening to John Martin on YouTube. I love, but Nick Drake, of course. I've got all those records. Time has told me. Do
you remember Roy Harper? Do you remember him?
I saw Roy Harper at a coffee shop
Shut up.
at 12th and Nicollet. About
Here?
15 years ago. Yep, he was on tour.
Wow.
I have a son of a very good friend of mine who's a huge Roy Harper fan. And, well, my friend Kelly Hotchkiss is too. He said he's playing in Minneapolis, so I went and see him, and it was just this little coffee shop. There was a handful of us that knew who he was. But
I wish I would have known he was there. That must have been like when I first moved here.
Yeah, and it was it was like on the other end of the block.
I found him a long time ago as records and stuff, but I remember MySpace, and he had a MySpace page, and I almost died. I'm like, shut up, Roy Harper has a MySpace page, and I wrote him, and I said, because he's out too, he's a little out. He opened for Led Zeppelin, and he kicked him off tour because he was just too weird or something. But I just was like, I couldn't believe it, and he wrote me back and said, thanks, love.
Oh,
and that was it.
How beautiful.
Yeah, it was nice.
We have had a most enjoyable conversation with Davina from Davina and the Vagabonds. They've got a live stream, Valentine's Day, 7 p.m. Get tickets at thehookmpls.com. Not only buy a ticket or two, but kick it some extra money because all the musicians and that great club.
I'm poor.
Everybody needs some money, and Davina's poor, so get on it. Davina, what's your website? How can people buy some records from you?
DavinaandtheVagabonds.com. There's a store on there, lots of digital downloads. I even have some T-shirts. I'm actually going to load up some T-shirts that I found in storage, so that's really cool. But anyway, we're on Bandcamp, iTunes, Amazon, you name it, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Zach and I are going to be doing a little impromptu song that we're going to upload on Facebook too, so take a look at that. So everywhere. We're everywhere.
Well, that's good, and it's I told you at the beginning of the show, I'm so happy with all of your success. You're so deserving. I forgot how much fun it was to talk to you, but you've got my number now. I can give you a few other leads, and I'm sure you can give me some leads on some music I should be checking out.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I need some new stuff. Thank you so much, Paul, for this, and thank you, Patrick, behind the scenes, dude. And, thehookmpls.com. Love songs. I won't be that deep for the show, folks, so don't get too worried. It's going to be a lot of fun. You'll be able to meet the Vagabonds. They're an amazing group of dudes, great musicians. Unbelievably. I'm really lucky to have the band family that I have. They're my forever people.
Well, they've got a great band leader. Davina, thank you so much for your time. Stay warm. Have a great show. I hope you make $1 million, and we will definitely stay in touch.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
Okay. Goodbye.
Thanks.
Finally got my feet back on the ground. The clouds have cleared. Ain't gone away. Nothing's ever gonna bring me down. And my smile is funny, it'll stay. Sunshine from this day, baby. Sunshine from this day, oh, oh. Never gonna cry no more.
Thanks for listening to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. The show is produced by Paul Metza, engineered by Patrick Lilia. We'd like to thank our guest, Davina, from the great Davina and the Vagabonds. Follow them at davinaandthevagabonds.com. Anybody out there looking for a beautiful duplex in Northeast Minneapolis? I'm going to be selling mine. Get a hold of me at paul@paulmetza.com. And like my dad used to tell me, remember to be kind and make someone happy.